Hi, and welcome to Hull Women's Week, 15 Minutes With. I'm Becky from Hull Libraries, and today I'm with Winnie from Hull Youth Parliament. So without further ado, hi Winnie.
Hi.
Could you tell us a little bit about what you do?
So I'm in Youth Parliament and I kind of listen to the demographic of young people in Hull and I kind of report it to kind of the government and things like that and try and say this is what a lot of young people need and this is what our young people are facing issues with and things like that. And we usually do consultations with young people and like try to hear their views on things.
Lovely. So in undertaking this Hull Youth Parliament role, what challenges do you think you've faced in particular?
I think as being like a woman, but also a black woman, it's also a fear of kind of feeling like, you might not be taken seriously sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just trying to understand that, you're here for a reason and people picked you for a reason. So I think it's just the issue of sometimes feeling kind of this imposter syndrome and feeling like you might not belong where you are in that kind of like group, but you just kind of have to remind yourself that you do.
Do you have a proudest moment being part of the Hull Youth Parliament, something that you really sort of took to heart and was really pleased to support?
I think one of the favorite times in youth parliament, there's so many, but I think it definitely had to be in the House of Commons. I
Oh,
remember
did you get
sitting
to
there,
go?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
and I remember sitting there and I was like, wow, like millions of people have sat here and kind of, you know, this is where laws are taking place. This is where people who are debating with the prime minister and things like that. And I'm like sat here right now. I think it was like a really proud moment of kind of realizing, how far I've come from like just thinking, youth parliament sounds pretty good, into actually being in the House of Commons and hearing the speaker speak and things like that. It's just, I don't know, it's surreal.
Fantastic. Gosh, I'm quite envious now. Because of course you see it on the television all the time, don't you? And you don't think necessarily about all the lawmaking that's going on in those very rooms. Fantastic moment. So in all the things that you've sort of thought about and processed when you've been in Whole Youth Parliament, have you got any sort of changes that you would like to see? Anything that you would like the world to maybe improve on?
I think one of mine would be to include more marginalized groups into politics, really. When being, one of the only black people in my constituency kind of representing, it's kind of sad because, I wish I could, you know, wish many like politics could include a lot more different groups like LGBTQ, black people, women, and kind of have a bit more of a diverse kind of thing to kind of represent our generation because I think our generation is one of the first to kind of embrace these new changes.
Hmm.
So I think it would be really interesting to kind of bring more people who are marginalized into that kind of limelight and that spotlight to tell them this is what we're facing and to kind of make the government realize, oh, young people, we haven't focused on this group, we haven't focused on this group. Like it's a step forward that young people are now, in politics. Like we have a youth parliament, that's really good.
Hmm.
But just because it's better doesn't mean that it's amazing, it's the best. So I think we just need to keep on striving towards that and just kind of work our ways through it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, is there anything you aspire to be? Has this sort of lit a fire for any particular role in your future?
Um, I think for me, I'm always balancing between being a lawyer or being a politician and kind of balancing between the two because I love like the concept of justice and like law and things like that. But I also love the concept of like just being able to speak for the people and people who may not feel like they have a voice and kind of being the voice for them. I've always like loved that kind of role ever since I was young, just
Hmm.
going for, you know, House captain or Senate and things like that. I've just always loved it. So I think it's definitely that. But um, I always say to myself, like, success kind of takes form in many different ways. Like, even if I don't end up as a lawyer or as a politician, I just want to be something where, you know, I can look at a creation that I've made and realize that it's longer lasting than myself, and it will kind of impact many different generations in a good way. Do you know what I mean? Um, I just want to make sure that I create something at the end of the day that will help people, and that will help people more than I can help others. So yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Well, sounds like my future's safe in your hands. But you could always become a lawyer and then go into politics. So you might be able to get like sort of 2 for 1 there.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you very much for spending some of your time with us today, Winnie, and talking about the Youth Parliament and what it means to you. I completely agree. It's fantastic. It's not something I would have had the opportunity to do when I was younger, and I would have been interested. So it's lovely to see young women going forward and sort of taking that opportunity. So thank you for spending your time with us.
Oh, thank you. I'm really happy and delighted to.